Okay, thank you very much for coming. My name is Jeff, and I was suckered totally. No, I mean, I volunteered for this talk for Wade, and initially I thought about how can I piss off the most people, but I decided against that because that's pretty easy. So I decided to go with another topic called something more than science, and feel free to ask questions, heckle, divulge your innermost fantasies, whatever. I can do anything. And since we're so small, it's kind of a intimate gathering anyway, so feel free. Anyway, something more than science. All right, here we go. Information is not power. Uh-oh. By itself, information is a burden. And it's only the second level on a path to a true understanding. Many of us have trouble trying to sift through the morass of unnecessary data that we are exposed to daily. And the more we cram into our craniums, the less efficient we are at doing the things that we need to do. We're focused on the news of the moment, gossip, facts that are spurious, or any kind of who's trolling who. Facebook, Twitter, Line are the drugs of our new generation. And with any drug, the more you use it, the more you need to get that high. Tonight, my talk is primarily about information, perception, and a discussion about a new way of understanding ourselves. I'm going to tell you some facts and fictions, and I don't have control over how you perceive them. I will just say that a lot of the truths that we cling to or regurgitate are based on our own perceptions. So, are they really truths at all? There's been no greater way of looking at the world than and able to filter it than by the discoveries of science. Science has been providing more bang for the buck, I could say, than its counterpart, which is storytelling or religion. I don't have to tell you guys that. But before we go on, and it's a small group anyway, it would be nice to clarify just what is science and what is science's main goal. So, quick quiz. Here we go. Pick one that resonates with you most. What is science? A rigorous self-critical process designed to continually break down itself in pursuit of some telos or goal in the form of the most verifiable, repeatable, objective facts and models. B, the most recent, robust, powerful prognosticating and extrapolating tool that we could have created. C, the ability to use qualitative results to do useful things like fly or feed the hungry or cure the sick. D, could it be the search for real, independently existing facts of nature? And E, could it be a search for truth, where it's implied that knowing more things can help us become a better human being, pretty much. Okay, I mean, there's a few here. Which one? What is science?
A/B.
A/B, thank you.
I like D.
I like D, good.
I like A/C.
A/C. You guys?
Hold on.
Oh, but wait, which one is less powerful? Don't give me all of them. Come on, pick the least powerful, the least. All right, F. How? Okay, I got it. What do you think?
I was going to say all of them as well.
Yeah, right. Okay, well, I mean, do any resonate with you more? What is science? Come on, man. What's science? Science. Or wait, anything else. I don't want
to.
to.
Your earlier slide said that science says there are no unicorns came through, so we're talking about different science anyway.
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, science is good at breaking storytelling myths, right? What, Tom? What? E.
Yeah, I'm going with it.
All right, okay, E. All right, cool. All right. Well, great. Well, all right. Well, you're all wrong. No. Actually, it doesn't matter. All right. Thanks for your input anyway. Basically, no matter which one you chose, I would like to try to agree that science is just one way of looking at the world. Okay? And what we do with this information, all the facts and data that we've acquired, what we do with that is up to us. The scientific process basically just illuminates data. It does not necessarily explain everything, and it surely does not evaluate things. We do that ourselves. Our value systems, our morals, our social systems, they will evaluate the facts that we acquire. The question that I've been asking myself is that even though scientific rigor has brought us where we are today, is there something more than science that we need? And I believe yes. Something more than science. All things change. In the cosmic ebb and flow of radiating energy that is all around us, the only constants are the equations that we've figured out from trying to figure out all the universe's laws of nature. Change is not inherently good or bad. It's just how things are in our universe of expanding higher entropy levels. Being able to go with the flow is what any mineral, vegetable, animal needs to do. We have to go with the flow. Matter is usually blown into existence, and it's extinguished just as quickly. In the limited time that we have as newfangled stardust, we have a profound desire to figure out just what the hell is going on. We've made fairly good progress in the last maybe 200,000 years as Homo sapiens or Homo sapiens sapiens. But it's been a slow grind, just going with the flow. We're not cut out to be leaves floating on a river. No, we've possibly reached our species adolescence. Right? And so stories are no longer what we want. We want facts. We want to be able to control things. We want our power that's entitled to us. And we want them now. Not too long ago, perhaps we as a species, we realized that we've been metaphorically driving on the slow backcountry road with grandma behind the wheel. Along the way, we probably caught a glimpse of a freeway. And we're like, hey, grandma, go toward that. But of course there was resistance. You know, thankfully, we've relegated grandma to the back seat now. And we're heading along the super highway of information. Super information highway. 都可以的. I mean, we love the exhilaration. We have a feeling now we're finally getting somewhere. We hear grandma in the back whining about, oh, go slower. You know, watch out for that truck. But we're like, relax, grandma. We know what we're doing. And we shake our heads at the time wasted that we were on that country road. Michio Kaku postulates that we could have been a tier 1 civilization by now if it weren't for her slow driving. And now, with all of our progress, all of our information, it seems that we really are going to a place called great knowledge. We have this unfailing belief that the answers are just down the road a little bit. And if we can just get there quicker, everything will become clear, obvious. Then the fun starts, because then once we have greater knowledge, of course we have greater power. And this power, we think we don't have it already. And past great knowledge, there's this supposed city called Godtown, a supposed utopia where little things like disease, interstellar travel, energy problems, death, they're solved, or at least they're heavily tweaked in our favor. But is this really where we want to go? Many of us say yes, many of us are not sure. A little story. An absent-minded professor jumped into the backseat of a taxi, heading toward a meeting. As he got in, he said, "Hurry, top speed." That taxi driver floored it. And then the professor realized he hadn't told the driver where to go. I said, hey, do you know where my meeting is? And the taxi driver says, no, but I'm going to drive there as fast as I can. I think that's kind of where we're at now. I would love to get to great knowledge and maybe head on over to Godtown to see some of my esteemed colleagues. But it seems that we're just winging it. And we're on this road because we want to be on this road, but we don't really know where it's really going. And we tell ourselves that we're going to solve all these problems, all these riddles, once we get to this place called great knowledge. However, when we get there, or if we get there, are we going to find that we're just fuzzy monkeys in cool spacesuits? To bring the analogy back to the main point, I believe that we need a better internal as well as external GPS system, or GPS, sorry. It might benefit us to pull over, check the map a little bit, and input the desired destination about where we want to go, or at least extrapolate a little bit on some of the problems that we might encounter down the road. Because we're already going at a pretty good pace. And there's going to be bumps. And any kind of bumps that you have at a higher speed causes more damage. I believe that we are in need of a more inclusive system of combining belief and reason and the mysteries of deep space and inner space. To do this to increase the pitch of our awareness. Ultimately, this means, I believe, that wisdom and enlightenment is much more important than knowledge and information, let alone data. And I believe we are ready to consciously evolve. To explore this idea, I want to backtrack a little bit and to show you how we've gotten to this great place that we are right now. So, since slithering out of the oceans, our ancestral line has had one lucky break after another. Poof! No more dinos. Zoom! Go, two legs, go! Oh yeah, light my fire. And with each mutation or upgrade, as we might call them, there were changes not only in physical, but the metaphysical realities of our existence. Mostly by manipulating complex language and symbols, we were able to come up with some really unique stories or ideas about the world. This means that we are very good at making stories. Stories that teach, warn, soothe, cajole, or inspire. We're still making stories. I'm assuming we are still reading stories. Basically, we read stories and we make stories because we have a passionate desire to fill in the blank spots of our awareness. These stories represent our levels of awareness. to explore this idea, I want to backtrack a little bit further again. So here is a brief outline. A dot. I'm going to go ahead and label this dot as the first couple million years of our primates' evolution. Basically, this could represent being focused entirely on the body, living day to day. Basically, it was, at this time, it was the primates' ideal of fight or flight. They didn't have time to make stories. They were trying to live. It was basic survival. Another image I want to present is a simple line. This represents, to me, the quite remarkable concept of causality, of having an action associated with a previous action. The brain shift needed to do this had to be much more advanced, much more sophisticated. And here, our ancestors used that brain power. And they were able to create proto-religions or animistic tendencies to figure out the reason of why things happen. Next up, as I'm sure you can probably guess, is a square. This is a more structured form. This is representing a further increase, perhaps a doubling or so, of our awareness about what's going on. I'm going to mark this as this represents the solidifying and codifying of most of our major religions that we have today. We're, in a sense, we still have this structure. For most people, along the nodes here, it was not so simple. Now it actually has some kind of structure, some kind of cycle. There was maybe an outline to follow. The building of this structure took a lot of work, let alone blood and tears. But a lot of people like this. It filled in a need for many people. And also, isn't it a little bit strange that the English word for God could be represented here? G, O, and D. The next part is where we are now. Ah.
Forward button.
Yeah, we're going back. Wow.
You tap the mouse.
Direction, like page down. Is there a directional?
Oh, yeah.
This,
Nope, right down.
yeah, I know, I see. God damn it.
Almost there. You got it.
There you go.
Yeah.
See, God did that to you.
Yeah. That's what you get.
That's what I get.
I'm gonna save your Google after again.
Thank you very much. That's what I get for talking about God. But I believe it is true, and so maybe he wants us to go back. But I believe that we are here right now. We've extrapolated the data and information to create another structure that has much more heft, has weight, has volume. And of course, this is a giant leap from this process here, which is also a giant leap from here and a giant leap from here. And I believe this process started from a very simple question. Are we sure the sun goes around the earth? And from that simple question to all the other unanswered riddles, we were able to find that, knowledge can be accessed through scientific data and scientific ideas and by experimentation. It is exponential. Thank you very much. And from the warranted success of the scientific method, we now know more about the world and universe and ourselves than ever before. We can break atoms. We can travel off the world. We have tons of facts and information that we utilize every day. Yet, even in this diagram, there are limits. There are boundaries. That is just a structure. Is there a further structure? And of course there is. Basically, I morphed this image. I'm talking about spatial systems, from 0 dimension to 3-dimensional systems in space. Are there more dimensions? Yes. Of course. How many more? How many more? Some say, well, some say, if you're talking about string theory, you can get up to words of 20, 25, right? But anyway, for my simple reptilian brain, the next level of awareness is where we want to be. This is the full image I took from Wikipedia, and it shows the 4th-dimensional tesseract. And notice how this tesseract is basically just formed by including 3 vertices from each of these nodes. Unfortunately, you're not seeing a real tesseract. You're seeing a shadow of a tesseract, as what Carl Sagan says. I don't know if you've ever read about flat world and about how flat worldians need, when they encounter a 3-dimensional being, they can't access it in their brain. They cannot access it. But we can see a shadow of a form of a 4th-dimensional spatial system. This is where I think we should be heading towards. Therefore, the next level of our awareness should be, or could be, an exponential growth out of our fairly rigid scientific rationalism that also includes, this is the main point, that also includes the sticky, fuzzy empiricism that we've tried to throw away. In the movie Interstellar, Cooper finally understands that love is a viable option for connecting, for using data over timescales within a black hole. And this is Interstellar's idea of what a tesseract could look like. So in a word, we need foresight. All right, well, 2 words could be patience and foresight, which basically boils down to wisdom. And now I tell my students that wisdom usually is people asking wise. Wise people asking wise. Oh, sorry. And wisdom primarily consists of dropping information, not increasing information. And if you want to get cool, you can be very creative down there. We need a taking stock of our current situation. We need time for the digestion of all the data and information that we've currently accessed and have at our fingertips. I mean, imagine how much do you read every day, or I should put, not read, skim every day. We are becoming expert skimmers or filterers. We need to. There's just too much. So wisdom, in a sense, is a way to take out the most important parts and focus on that. If we really are in our adolescence, the one thing that parents usually tell their tweens is that to slow down, think a little bit, don't be so hurried. And of course, the parents are scoffed at. Why are we driving so fast to this great knowledge? Why are we so eager to know the mysteries of deep space when our inner space is also collecting dust? Are we really conscious of ourselves? I'm going to go with a quote from Carl Jung. And I'll read it for you so you can close your eyes if you're not a little bit. The modern man can know himself only insofar as he can become conscious of himself, a capacity largely dependent on environmental conditions. His consciousness, therefore, orients itself mainly by investigating the world around him. This task, this energy, is so exacting, and its fulfillment so advantageous, we love it, that usually he forgets himself in the process, losing sight of his instinctual nature and putting his own conception of himself in place of his real being. In this way, he slips slowly but surely into a purely conceptual world, an idealized world, where the products of his conscious activity progressively replace reality. So in a sense, we're becoming illusions. This process of becoming ourselves sounds very similar to the mumbo-jumbo of various mystics, gurus, healers around the world. So you can roll your eyes. That's okay. Yet, I believe, and please give me flack for this, it's all right, that there is wisdom and there is power that we have access to that cannot be scientifically proven or cannot be investigated under a microscope. In a sense, self-consciousness is basically self-awareness. We have a radar that is initiated from our mind and is vibrating outwards. And of course, it's sending back lots of pings, just like a bat's echolocation. We try to interpret these pings. However, the interpretation is sometimes very difficult. Why? Because we not only have, but we need layers of filtration. We are not able to access all the radiating energy. I mean, Feynman sometimes talks about sitting down and can you imagine all the different energies, the gamma rays, the cosmic rays, all the radio waves. Imagine being able to see or feel those waves. In some sense, we would go insane. That's why people that have an eidetic memory sometimes just want to take that out. They remember everything. We're not really meant to do that. We are very good at filtering and processing information. Perception, what we see, is not reality. Sorry. Perception is not reality. Talking about reality or truth is a little bit like talking about a tesseract. I can logically give you all the vertices and show you all the pictures, but we're not going to be able to see it because we are not 2D, we are not living in flat world, but we are living in 3D world. We do not have access to a 5th, 6th, 7th dimensional brainwave. It's just beyond our awareness. I believe that this is one of the main reasons about our fear or frustration or our desire to go toward great knowledge. To be in the dark is very frustrating for us. We don't know something, we don't like that. We can handle misery, but we cannot handle not knowing. Thus, there's been a drive for the past thousands of years for religion to provide answers. And there's been a drive for science to confront them. I tend to agree with Socrates here when he expressed his ideal aim, to increase knowledge, to reach out towards a state of instinctive unity with the universe. Or, okay, in my own words, to allow our perceptions to dissolve and be aware that we are part of a connected system. This connected system is not either or is not based on binary. We are so used to dealing with binary systems. We are unfortunately not in this fourth image yet. But we're looking at it and heading towards it. And I propose that this fourth image, and yes, it could go higher. I propose that this fourth image mixes all the realities and creates an even clearer story that we can appreciate and understand. Of course, this needs to happen when we are ready for it. I mean, I would have loved to be at the cusp of the scientific exploration toward the quantum theory in 1900. But at that time, nobody knew what was going on. It's taken a long time. Even now, many people don't understand what's going on with quantum theory and quantum mechanics. Part 2. Cybernetic superhumans and mystical mutants. Okay. What special power would you like? I'm giving them out free today. You want Superman's invincibility, flight? You want Wolverine's healing ability? Oh, how about Iron Man's sassy demeanor?
This box office, I'll take that.
That's right. Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah. Regardless, it is going to be pretty cool in the next few decades or centuries, probably decades, to augment our own bodies past its biological and possibly ethical limits. Or is there an ethical limit? Our trend recently has been to up the percentage of metal on or in, at least around our bodies. And many of us welcome this vision. I mean, our laptops, our cell phones, they are already extensions of our bodies. So, what's the future going to hold? The future is going to be more wearables, right? I don't know if you have any of those. The Google Ass. Oh, no. Wearables are going to be much more common, right? Implants are going to become much more common. And 3D printed organs are already, and not just organs, but also like actual arms, limbs, that. But organs are a little bit more sensitive, but that's going to become commonplace as well. These will not only become ubiquitous, but they are going to make our lives better, hopefully. And I believe if we do not create sentient robots or AI that will leapfrog over our tiny biological bodies and cute IQ processing power, if we do not create that, then I'm almost positive many of us would like to augment ourselves as well. These cybernetic cyborgs, right? Once you start to go past 51% metal, congratulations, you're going to be a cyborg. And I see this as a fascinating insight to perhaps why we are zipping along on this information superhighway toward greater knowledge. We don't like our bodies. We yearn to prove victorious over sickness, stupidity, and death. I've used the word power in a few ways, and I mentioned superpowers, and I just mentioned processing power. These two words are talking about different things on the outside, but the same things on the inside. They're talking about magic. Isn't any sufficiently advanced technology indistinguishable from magic? That's another quote from Clark. Yeah, I know, magic. That's a terrible, unscientific, taboo word, especially for us. At worst, magic is trickery, illusion. It's a hoax. At best, magic is just pure entertainment. And if mixed with humor, it's actually very, very refreshing. But believe this at your own risk and shame. The magician is expert at manipulating your reality and your perceptions. However, the magic that I am hinting at is not based on a stage magic. It's laced with technological advances and know-how, as well as our latent power to transform physical and mental reality. Hi, Luke. Here's another quote from Colin Wilson in The Occult, 1970s, I believe. I believe that the human mind has reached a point in evolution where it's about to develop new powers, powers that would be once considered magical. For the past 10,000 years or so, humankind has been busy developing another kind of power related to the intellect, IQ speed, getting up the RAM data and the speed. And the result has been Western Sith. His unconscious powers have not atrophied, but they've gone underground. And now, intellect has reached certain limits, and it cannot advance beyond this stage until it recovers some of its lost powers. So in a sense, I'm not trying to go backwards. Definitely not going backwards. I want to go forwards with a full tank. Magic is not the science of the past. It will be, and it is the science of the future. As I said before, we can handle misery. We can handle a lot of problems. We're good problem solvers. But we do not like not knowing something. So either we make up stories through religion, or we confront it and try to figure out what it is through scientific rigor. But even that has limits. Magic bugs us. We don't like it. We don't understand what it is. We don't like it when a magician magically makes something disappear. We know he's tricking us, but we don't like it. Perhaps data is infinite, and our energy could be spent merging with what we know and what we don't know. This is another reason to encourage you to rewatch some Feynman interviews or some tapes. Many of us are curious and eager for external change. And this is what our metallic or biomagical enhancements will allow us to achieve. There's nothing wrong with this, and I'm excited for this. And, well, perhaps not in this group, but there are also those who yearn to meditate successfully until they can feel the atoms coalescing with the universe and inhale the love that they feel all around. All right, there's nothing wrong with that either. It's going to make good music too. And I'm hopeful that both kinds of magic can be exercised or utilized, that we can succeed, and some people can succeed to become maybe like a sci-fi bodhisattva to help who? Us slower mortals. All right, in closing, I'd like to return to this image of a tesseract that I propose that this is a representation of a new way of looking at the world. If we can merge the inner and the outer powers that we have, we can potentially shed our cocoon that we've accessed or that we are in, and we can make a new story, something perhaps more than just science, and definitely more than storytelling. I believe this will resonate with more people. Freeman Dyson, the renowned physicist, mentions succinctly, life in the universe is a heritage for us to cherish and a destiny for us to earn. And I truly hope that we can cherish our next adventure, whether it's going to Godtown or greater knowledge or finally reaching this fourth dimensional tesseract idea. And I also sincerely hope we can have our descendants' respect for what we do now. There we go. Thank you.